Picture this. You're 200 feet underground, your headlamp cutting through absolute darkness, when suddenly your light catches something that shouldn't be there. Something white, twisted, partially buried in the cave floor. That's exactly what happened to copper miner Jake Morrison on March 15th, 2023, in the remote caves of northern Arizona. What he discovered would crack open a case that had haunted the DEA for 8 years. A case involving 2 missing federal agents, a web of corruption, and a cover-up that reached the highest levels of law enforcement. But here's what the authorities never told you about Agents Rebecca Martinez and Katie Sullivan. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about their disappearance. Welcome back to Shadows by Barry. I'm Barry, and today we're diving deep into a case that proves sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones wearing badges. If you're new here, we uncover the cases that shock, the investigations that were buried, and the truth that powerful people never wanted you to know. What Jake Morrison found in that cave wasn't just evidence. It was proof that 2 decorated federal agents had been betrayed by their own. And when you hear who was really behind their disappearance, you'll understand why this case was buried for nearly a decade. Rebecca Martinez was everything you'd want in a federal agent. 32 years old, fluent in 3 languages, and with a reputation for never backing down from a case. Her colleagues called her the Bulldog. Not because she was aggressive, but because once she sank her teeth into an investigation, she never let go. Her partner, Katie Sullivan, was the perfect complement. 28, a former Marine with a photographic memory and an uncanny ability to spot lies during interrogations. Together, they had taken down 3 major drug operations in just 2 years. But on October 3rd, 2015, their tenacity would lead them into a trap that had been months in the making. The call came in at 6 a.m. Intelligence suggested a major drug shipment was moving through the Coronado National Forest. 50 kilos of pure heroin with a street value of $15 million. The operation was being run by the Sinaloa cartel, using caves and abandoned mining tunnels to smuggle drugs across the Mexican border. Rebecca and Katie were tasked with surveillance only. Watch, report, do not engage. It should have been routine. But what they didn't know was that their mission had been compromised before it even began. Someone with access to DEA communications had already warned the cartel they were coming. Their final radio check came at 2:47 p.m. Katie's voice calm and professional. Base, this is Alpha Team. We have eyes on multiple vehicles, approximately 8 subjects, requesting backup for possible interdiction. The response from dispatch was immediate. Alpha Team, maintain surveillance only. Do not approach. Backup is not authorized at this time. But something in that transmission bothered the duty officer that day. The voice giving orders wasn't their usual dispatcher. It was someone else, someone who had no business being on that channel. At 4:15 p.m., Rebecca's GPS beacon went dark. Then Katie's. By 6 p.m., both agents had vanished without a trace. The initial search involved 200 personnel, helicopters, search dogs, and thermal imaging equipment. They combed 500 square miles of some of the most rugged terrain in Arizona. What they found was disturbing. Rebecca's backpack, torn and bloody, hanging from a tree branch 3 miles from their last known position. Katie's radio, smashed beyond repair, at the bottom of a ravine. But here's what made veteran investigators' blood run cold. The evidence was too convenient, too perfectly placed. It felt staged. Lead investigator Special Agent Mike Torres later said something that haunts him to this day. It was like someone was telling us a story, showing us exactly what they wanted us to see. What he didn't know then was that someone was doing exactly that, and that someone had been planning this for months. The investigation hit walls from day one. Crucial evidence went missing from storage. Witness interviews were mysteriously canceled. Most disturbing of all, the surveillance footage from border cameras in the area had been accidentally erased. Agent Torres found himself fighting not just a case, but his own department. Every lead he pursued was shut down by his superiors. every request for additional resources was denied. "I've never seen anything like it," Torres told me in an exclusive interview. "It was like someone was actively sabotaging our investigation from the inside." 6 months into the investigation, Torres received an anonymous letter. No return address, postmarked from Phoenix. Inside was a single photograph that changed everything. The image showed Rebecca and Katie's government vehicle in what appeared to be an underground garage. But the timestamp on the photo was from 3 days after they'd officially disappeared. Someone had their car. Someone had been using it. And someone wanted Torres to know about it. Torres began investigating financial records, looking for anyone with access to DEA operations who was living beyond their means. What he found was a pattern of luxury purchases, offshore accounts, and real estate investments that painted a clear picture of corruption. But every time he got close to identifying the source, his investigation was transferred to another department. The case was being systematically dismantled from within. That's when Torres made a decision that would save his life. He started investigating on his own time, using his own resources, trusting no one in his department. What he discovered would expose a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of federal law enforcement. Jake Morrison had been mining copper for 15 years. He'd seen plenty of strange things in the depths of Arizona's cave systems. Ancient artifacts, unusual rock formations, even occasional human remains from centuries past. But what he found on March 15th, 2023, was different. Modern equipment, deliberately hidden. And not just any equipment, tactical gear with DEA markings. "I knew immediately something was wrong," Morrison told investigators. "This wasn't archaeological. This was a crime scene." The FBI forensics team that responded to Morrison's call found evidence that painted a horrifying picture. The cave had been used as a makeshift prison. Restraints were still attached to the walls. Personal items belonging to Rebecca and Katie were scattered throughout the chamber. But the most damning evidence was found in a waterproof container hidden deep in the cave. Katie Sullivan's personal journal, written during their captivity. The entries, painful to read, documented not just their imprisonment but the identity of their captors. And the leader wasn't a cartel member. It was someone they trusted, someone they'd worked with for years. Supervisory Agent Michael Reeves, their own handler, had been selling DEA intelligence to the Sinaloa cartel for over 3 years. Rebecca and Katie had stumbled onto evidence of a betrayal during their surveillance operation. According to Katie's journal, Reeves had lured them to that remote location under the pretense of backup support. Instead, they were ambushed by cartel members who'd been waiting for hours. But here's the part that will chill you to the bone. Reeves hadn't planned to kill them. He'd planned to sell them. 2 federal agents would have been worth millions to certain buyers. The plan fell apart when Rebecca managed to activate an emergency beacon before being captured. Faced with the possibility of rescue teams finding them, Reeves made a different choice, one that would haunt the caves of Arizona for 8 years. Michael Reeves was arrested at his Phoenix home on March 20th, 2023. When FBI agents broke down his door, they found him destroying financial records in his backyard fire pit. His luxury lifestyle, the $800,000 home, the yacht, the offshore accounts containing over $2 million, had all been purchased with blood money. During interrogation, Reeves tried to claim he was running a long-term undercover operation, that his cooperation with the cartel was sanctioned. But Katie's journal entries proved otherwise. The trial lasted 3 months. Families of both agents were forced to relive their worst nightmares as evidence was presented, but they also learned about the extraordinary courage their daughters had shown in their final days. Katie's journal revealed that even in captivity, she and Rebecca had been gathering intelligence, planning an escape, and documenting evidence for future investigators. Michael Reeves was convicted on 23 federal charges, including murder, conspiracy, and corruption. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The investigation into Reeves revealed a network of corruption that reached into multiple agencies. 5 additional officials were arrested for accepting bribes, destroying evidence, and obstructing justice. The case led to the largest internal investigation in DEA history and resulted in new protocols for monitoring communications and financial activities of federal agents. But for the families of Rebecca Martinez and Katie Sullivan, no amount of justice could bring back two extraordinary women who died serving their country. Today, the cave where Rebecca and Katie were held has been sealed permanently. A memorial plaque honors their service and sacrifice, but it can't capture the full scope of their story. What strikes me most about this case is how two agents, even in their darkest moments, never stop being investigators. Katie's journal wasn't just a record of their suffering. It was evidence, carefully documented, that would eventually bring down their killers. The corruption that cost them their lives had been growing for years, protected by badges and institutional power. It took the determination of one honest investigator and the courage of a copper miner to finally expose the truth. What do you think about this case? How many other investigations have been compromised by corruption we don't know about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this case affected you the way it affected me, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps others discover these important stories and keeps the memory of agents like Rebecca and Katie alive. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for more cases that expose the truth behind the headlines. I post new investigations every Tuesday and Friday. Next week, we'll be diving into another case of corruption in law enforcement. A small-town sheriff who used his badge to cover up murders for over a decade. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, remember that behind every case file is a real person with a real family who deserves justice. These aren't just stories. They're fights for truth that sometimes take years to win. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next investigation.